They think power is luck. They believe respect is a gift. They imagine influence is inherited through family or status. But that's an illusion. Real power never falls from the sky. It is built brick by brick, with discipline, with vision, with iron will. Respect is not granted. It is designed through the way you control presence, the way you command the gaze, and the image you plant into the minds of others. Influence is not a gift. It is the product of relentless training until no one can deny your weight when you walk into any room. Machiavelli called this the ultimate weapon, control of perception, the force that bends both you and your enemies without chains, without armies. Understand this. Perception shapes belief. Belief drives action, and action draws the map of destiny. If you can decide how the world sees you, you can decide how the world treats you. They may work harder than you. They may speak better than you. They may even shine for a fleeting moment. But perception is the tide, and every person is just a boat. When you command it, you command the entire ocean. And today, this journey begins. Comment below. I choose power over comfort. Let these words carve themselves into your mind. This is not entertainment. This is initiation, the step where you leave the crowd and enter the cold circle of the untouchable. Look straight into the mirror. The person staring back at you is the first king you must conquer. If you cannot defeat him, every victory out there is nothing but illusion. Power does not begin with the crowd, not with applause, not with fame or money. Power begins with self-mastery, with your ability to command yourself before you dare command anyone else. Every human is born with instincts that drag them downward. The laziness of the morning, the craving for short-term pleasure, the toxic whispers in the mind, "You're not enough, you're not ready." Someday, ordinary people surrender. They wake when it's convenient. They eat when they crave. They speak without thinking. And they waste time as if it were infinite. But the untouchable moves in the opposite direction. He makes instinct his servant. He rises when discipline commands, not when the bed begs. He eats to sustain strength, not to please hunger. He chooses silence over weak reactions. Here is the cold truth. The most dangerous man is not the richest, not the most handsome. The most dangerous man is the one who can control himself. Discipline turns him into a weapon. Restraint makes him unshakable. Silence makes him mysterious. And mystery is a magnet. It pulls people closer without a single call. Picture this. A man walks into the room. He says nothing, but his posture is upright. His gaze is sharp. His breathing steady, not rushed, not weak. You feel his weight before he utters a word. That is the mark of self-mastery. When you dominate the world within, the outer world has no leverage left. Temptation loses its fangs. Doubt goes silent. Fear is stripped of its blade. Self-mastery is not a vague philosophy. It is a personal war repeated every morning. The first battle, against the bed when it seduces you to stay. The second battle, against cravings that demand you betray your body. The final battle, against the whisper in your head that says you're not good enough. If you lose those battles, you cannot win the greater ones. But if you win them, day after day, you carve yourself into someone no storm can bring down. Remember this, every kingdom falls. Every throne is passed on, but the crown of self-mastery can never be stolen. Stop and ask yourself, if I cannot command myself, what value do my commands hold over others? Comment now. I am my own ruler. Let this declaration burn itself into your mind. Self-mastery is the foundation, but a foundation is not enough. Power must radiate. It must be felt even before you speak a single word. That is presence. The weight you carry, the invisible force others sense the moment you enter. Remember, power kept hidden withers away. Strength that never projects outward turns to dust. When you have mastered yourself, the world begins to feel it. Even in silence, your presence speaks. This is not arrogance. This is gravity. And gravity does not beg. It simply pulls everything toward itself. A decisive look, a moment of silence, a posture that does not waver. Sometimes, these are stronger than 1,000 words. The untouchable man knows this. People respond not only to what you say, but to the energy you bring. If you are scattered, they hear your desperation. If you are calm, they lower their own voices. Machiavelli once wrote, "Men are governed more by the appearance of things than by the reality of them." The wise ruler does not resist this truth. He uses it. When you cultivate presence, you no longer need to shout to prove yourself. You do not need to show off to impress. You simply stand there, and the room begins to revolve around you. Here's the truth. Presence cannot be faked. You cannot construct an empty pose and expect others to believe it. Presence only emerges when you truly rule within. A pretender may imitate posture, may simulate a gaze, but energy cannot be forged. Others will feel it. They may not explain it, but they cannot ignore it. That is why those with true presence rarely fight for attention. Attention seeks them. Presence is not intimidation. Presence is inevitability. It is the certainty of someone who knows who they are and does not tremble under the gaze of the world. Understand this. Presence is the invisible crown. It needs no jewels, no throne. It is inside you. And once forged, no one can take it away. Ask yourself, do I want to be the noise in the room or the axis it revolves around? Comment now, my presence is my power. So from today, remember, your very existence alone is already a weapon. Power does not exist only in the present moment. This instant dies the second you recognize it. If your strength exists only in the now, it is fragile. Here lies a truth Machiavelli understood well. Power belongs to the one who sees further. Strength without foresight is just a sword swung in the dark. It may cut once, twice, but soon it shatters. For the blind traveler will eventually fall. The untouchable man does not fight in blindness. He prepares while others sleep. He calculates while others waste. He lives in tomorrow, while the crowd remains trapped in today. Machiavelli wrote, "Fortune is like a flood. It sweeps away those unprepared. But he who builds dikes, who digs channels, does not only survive, he masters the waters." Ordinary men wait for opportunity. They pray for luck. But the man of foresight has already carved the path long before the opportunity appears. From the outside, he may look like someone who got lucky. But the truth, his victories are traps set months, even years, in advance. This is the silent armor, preparation, unseen until it is too late. The man without foresight lives as a slave to chance. He waits, he reacts, he complains. Every disruption breaks him because he never imagined it could happen. But the man with foresight is never surprised. He has pictured the storm. He has prepared for betrayal. He has planned for failure. So when the world trembles, he does not. This is not paranoia. This is power. Because foresight is not predicting every detail of the future. Foresight is shaping yourself so that whatever happens, you are ready to turn it into advantage. The man of foresight studies patterns. He reads the moves of others. He observes in silence while the crowd throws itself into traps. Sometimes, those very traps are the ones he set. But foresight demands one rare quality: patience. The impatient act too soon. The impatient burn themselves out. The impatient destroy their own plans. The man of foresight knows how to wait. Wait in silence. Wait in the dark. And when the moment arrives, he is already standing at the crossroads where all paths must pass. Foresight is not a short-term game. It is a 100-step strategy. While others wrestle with today's failures, he is already calculating next year's move. That is why, when the storm clears, he is the last one still standing. Ask yourself, am I trapped in this moment, or have I already moved my home into tomorrow? Comment now. I see beyond the moment. Let this truth carve itself into your mind. You do not wait for the future. You create it. Power is not just the light of dawn. It must be the fire still burning, even when night surrounds it. This is the law of resilience, because strength cannot be measured on easy days. Strength is measured in the storm. The world does not reward the one who shines only when the sky is clear. The world only acknowledges the one who still stands when everything around collapses. Resilience is not avoiding pain. Resilience is turning pain into steel. It is allowing the fire to burn, not to destroy, but to forge. Machiavelli once warned, "Fortune is brutal, uncertain, merciless, but that brutality does not kill the resilient. It only exposes them. When life takes away comfort, when plans shatter, when allies abandon, the weak beg for salvation. But the resilient clench their jaw, hold their breath, and keep walking. He does not fear suffering. He invites it because he knows pain is the sculptor that shapes power. The ordinary see suffering as punishment. The resilient see suffering as the forge. They stand tall when the body is exhausted. They hold silence when the heart wants to scream, and they keep walking when the road is in ruins. Picture the oak in the storm. Weak branches break. Shallow roots are ripped away, but the deep-rooted oak still stands. It may sway, but it does not fall. That is resilience, flexible without surrender, enduring without breaking. And when the storm passes, that oak remains, casting its shadow while countless fragile trees lie flat on the ground. The resilient possess one terrifying advantage: inevitability. You may block him, resist him, doubt him, but if he does not disappear, time will side with him. Because the world must eventually yield to the one who cannot be broken. This is the law of endurance. You do not need to be the fastest. You do not need to be the best. You do not need to have the most support. You only need to outlast everyone else. And the one who remains last inherits the power. Ask yourself, am I running from pain, or am I using it to forge myself into steel? Comment now. I do not break. Let the world know. You may shake, but you will never shatter. The weak man is not defeated by his enemies. He is defeated by his own emotions. One insult can make him explode in anger. One look of disdain can make him tremble. One rejection is enough to break him. That is slavery. Slavery to anger, to fear, to desire. The untouchable is different. He feels everything, but does not let emotions command him. He feels anger but does not erupt. He knows fear but does not shake. He recognizes desire but does not bow before it. This is emotional detachment, not numbness, not emptiness, but absolute power. Deciding after you feel, not reacting while you feel. Machiavelli wrote, "Men are easily manipulated by what they desire and what they fear. The wise do not deny this truth. They use it. When others are swallowed by rage, he remains silent. When others panic, he stands firm. When others rush, he waits. His silence unsettles more than shouting ever could. His calmness is an invisible blade, Picture a confrontation. One side screams, the other remains quiet. Who do you think is truly in control? Calmness disorients the opponent. It exposes the weakness in their impulsive outburst. Emotional detachment is fire held in your hand. The ordinary let the fire burn them. The untouchable grasps it, controls it, and uses it to light his path. This is what makes you immune to manipulation. No insult drags you down. No trick makes you reckless. No pressure forces you to react before you choose. The man who loses emotional control leaks power in every argument, every quarrel, every glance. The man who detaches preserves all his energy for decisive moments. That is why calmness is more terrifying than aggression. It shows you stand at a height where nothing can reach you. Ask yourself, am I mastering my emotions, or am I being dragged by them like a puppet? Comment now. I master emotion. It does not master me. Let it carve into your mind. Emotions do not rule you. You rule them. Power is not an immovable wall. True power is water, shifting its course without losing its direction. History proves this. Every fortress, no matter how strong, eventually falls if it cannot change. Every empire, no matter how mighty, collapses if it clings too tightly to the past and rejects the present. This is the law of adaptation. The untouchable does not try to freeze the world in place. He knows the world always shifts, fortune always turns, storms always arrive without warning. So he bends, he weaves, he reinvents. He does not merely survive. He transforms chaos into fuel for domination. Machiavelli once compared fortune to a river, sometimes gentle, sometimes raging. The weak are swept away. The wise dig channels, build dams, and redirect the waters to their favor. Ordinary men hate change. They cling to old habits, to methods that once worked. But the untouchable is not loyal to habits. He is loyal only to power. Yesterday's method may have brought victory. Today, it may be the trap that destroys you. The adaptive man cuts without mercy. He kills the old version of himself to give birth to a stronger one. That is not weakness. That is evolution. Deliberate, cold, relentless evolution. Think of predators in nature. The one who hunts in only one way, one prey, one territory, starves when the season changes. But the one who shifts tactics, changes prey, expands territory, survives every season. So it is with the untouchable. He may change strategies, he may change tools, he may even change masks, but the inner axis never shifts. Seek power, hold power, never be surpassed. This makes him unpredictable. Others cannot know how he will strike. No one corners him. For every time they think they've trapped him, he finds another exit. That is the terror of adaptation. No one can pin you down. Ask yourself, am I clinging to what once worked, or am I ready to kill it to become stronger? Comment now, I evolve endlessly. To remind yourself, I do not remain. I evolve. I am unending. Inner strength makes you unshakable, but strength only becomes true power when it radiates outward, when it shapes others. This is the law of influence. Influence is not about being liked. Influence is not about surface numbers. For the same crowd that cheers your name today will forget you tomorrow. So what is real influence? It is making others adjust their rhythm to yours. It is turning your presence into the axis they revolve around. Machiavelli said, "Men are more often led by appearances than by the truth." The wise do not fight this fact. They use it. They carve their image until it becomes a badge, a symbol, a truth that cannot be denied in the eyes of others. The untouchable does not chase influence. He becomes influence. When he enters, attention finds him. When he speaks a single sentence, it echoes louder than another man's speech. When he is silent, that silence weighs like a command. Influence does not beg. Influence does not shout. Influence is the invisible pull, making others align themselves with you. And here lies the secret. Influence does not come from showmanship. It comes from consistency and scarcity. Consistency. Others see you stand firm, day after day. They see you do not waver. They begin to trust. Scarcity. You do not place yourself everywhere at every time. Each appearance becomes an event. Together, these two make you a compass. Others adjust their needle to follow you even when you never ask them to. That is when your power escapes the boundaries of yourself and becomes the law the crowd obeys. Ask yourself, am I chasing attention or am I making attention chase me? Comment now. My presence shapes reality because from this moment, you no longer seek influence. You are influence. There is a summit where all laws converge. Discipline, presence, foresight, resilience, emotional detachment, adaptation, influence, all woven into one. That summit is called mastery, and its crown, no one can hand to you. You can only forge it yourself and place it upon your own head. Understand this. Mastery is not perfection. Perfection is an illusion. Mastery is command. The untouchable does not boast that he never makes mistakes. He proves that, even when he does, he still controls. He may stumble, but he does not stay down. He may lose, but he does not let defeat write the final chapter. He may suffer, but he does not let pain dictate the next step. That is mastery. Command over emotion, command over action, command over image, command over the path he walks. Machiavelli wrote, "Fortune punishes those unprepared, but spares those who know how to command circumstance." The one who reaches the summit of mastery does not hope for favorable conditions. He prepares so completely that, no matter how life turns, he still stands. That is when your power becomes inevitability, not accident, not chance, but the undeniable result of thousands of days of forging. The master does not compare himself to others. He compares himself only to the man he was yesterday. Each day, sharper. Each day, more alert. Each day, quieter. Each day, deeper. And so, no one can catch up. This crown is not made of gold or silver. It is made of scars turned into armor, of failures turned into strategy, of pain turned into strength. And once you wear this crown, you no longer chase recognition. Recognition chases you. You do not hunt opportunity. Opportunity hunts you. You do not need to prove yourself. Your presence itself is proof. Ask yourself, am I waiting for someone to place the crown, or am I forging it myself? Comment now. I wear the crown of mastery, so you never forget. This crown cannot be stolen, cannot be stripped, cannot be bought. It can only be mastered. Power is only temporary, if it dies with you. Influence is only fragile, if it vanishes the moment you leave the room. But legacy is the only power that outlives death. This is the law of permanence. Understand this. Legacy is not reputation. Reputation is just noise. The crowd that praises you today will bury you in forgetfulness tomorrow. Today's applause becomes tomorrow's silence. Reputation is fleeting, but legacy is the imprint carved into collective memory. Even when your body disappears, your name and influence still echo. Look back at history. Caesar's Rome collapsed. Alexander's empire dissolved. Yet the name Caesar, the name Alexander, still commands reverence after thousands of years. Because stone can break, armies can scatter, wealth can vanish, but will, vision, and presence imprinted in the minds of others cannot be erased. The untouchable understands this. He does not waste his life chasing instant applause. He does not squander himself on fleeting attention. He builds each day like a brick, set into the structure of his legacy. Every choice is a brick. Every act of discipline is a carving. Every stand against the storm is cement, binding his structure so it can never collapse. Legacy is not what you leave at the end of your life. Legacy is what you are building right now. Each morning of discipline, part of your legacy. Each silence kept when it matters, part of your legacy. Each time you turn pain into power, part of your legacy. The man who leaves nothing dies twice, once in body, once in memory. The man with legacy dies only once, for memory keeps him alive forever. That is why legacy strikes fear. It grants you immortality in the minds of men. Ask yourself, if tomorrow I vanished, what of me would remain? Comment now, my legacy begins now. Because legacy does not begin on the day you die. It begins this very moment. There is a truth most people fear: solitude. They avoid it. They bury themselves in crowds, in noise, in cheap recognition, not because they love others, but because they are running from themselves. The untouchable is different. He does not fear solitude, he seeks it. Because solitude is not punishment. Solitude is the forge. It is in silence that your true essence is revealed. No applause, no encouraging gaze, no hand pulling you up. Only you and the truth. The weak fear facing that truth. The strong see it as the moment power is born. In solitude, you discover you do not need the crowd to exist. You do not need praise to move forward. You do not need recognition to stay disciplined. And when you return from solitude, you come back heavier, sharper, more dangerous, because you have learned to stand alone. And the one who can stand alone can stand before the entire world. Machiavelli reminded us, a wise ruler knows when to withdraw. There is mad at every whirlwind. They were made, not to run away, but to sharpen the sword, to prepare, to return like a storm. Ask yourself, if there were no applause left, would I still keep my discipline? Comment now, I grow strongest in solitude, because only the one strong enough in silence becomes invincible in the noise. You have walked with me through all the coldest laws: self-mastery, presence, foresight, resilience, emotional detachment, adaptation, influence, mastery, legacy, and finally, solitude. Each law is a weapon. Together, they do not just make you strong, they make you untouchable. Etch this into your mind. Power is not noise. Power is inevitability. From today forward, you are no longer an ordinary being drifting with the current. You are untouchable, a force the world must reckon with, one who is not controlled by circumstance, but who commands it. Leave your final comment below. I am untouchable. Let it become the vow you carry beyond this video, because this is not the end. This is only the beginning, and soon, the world will feel your weight.